The year 2022 will be pivotal in the history of the globe. China, the world's most powerful authoritarian regime, hosted the Winter Olympics, and like Germany in 1936, it will aim to utilize the show to score a propaganda triumph for its rigorous control system. In today's video, I will be talking about Geoge Soros' comment on China's economy. Stay tuned to learn everything about this intriguing topic. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We are at or nearing critical decisions that will define the direction of the globe. The German elections have already taken place, while the French elections will be held in April 2022. Against all odds, Hungary's people may depose an authoritarian dictator in the same month. These events, together with Putin's choice on whether to attack Ukraine, will help define Europe's fate. The world faces an intensifying struggle between two starkly different governance systems, writes former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden. In an open society, the function of the state is to preserve individual freedom. In a closed society, individuals' job is to serve the state. Douglas Rushkoff. Xi Jinping's hypersonic breakthrough does not alter the balance of mutually assured destruction, which prevents foes from attacking one another. Conflict between the United States and its adversaries has become more likely, he says. AI development with the advent of social media and internet platforms co-evolved has had far-reaching political ramifications. Xi Jinping has meticulously planned the procedure that would raise him to the level of Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping. He thinks that he is developing a governing system that is superior to liberal democracy, but he controls via fear, and no one dares to tell him anything he doesn't want to hear. China's property boom ended with a bang after progressively escalating. The government attempted to halt the pace by ordering banks not to expand credit for residential real estate. Evergrande, the largest and most indebted developer, is now in receivership. Many people who put the majority of their savings into real estate will turn against Xi Jinping. The birth rate in China is far lower than the official figure, and population growth will exacerbate the real estate crisis. Xi Jinping's only option now is to adopt a zero-COVID policy, which entails extreme lockdowns at the first hint of an outbreak. This has a detrimental impact on economic activity and causes significant suffering. Omicron mostly entered China via the port city of Tianjin, which is 30 minutes by high-speed train from Beijing. Citywide lockdowns are unlikely to be effective against an infectious strain like Omicron. Xi Jinping's meticulously scripted rise to the level of Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping may never happen. According to financier Geoge Soros, China is facing an economic disaster following a real estate bubble that ended with a bang last year. In a lecture Monday at Stanford University's Hoover Institution, the billionaire claimed that President Xi Jinping may not be able to restore trust in the struggling sector, which has been rocked by a succession of developer bankruptcies and declining land and apartment prices. According to Soros, China's real estate bubble was built on an unsustainable paradigm that favored local governments and encouraged citizens to deposit the majority of their money in property. Government regulations intended to cool the market made it harder for Evergrande, a heavily leveraged real estate colossus, to pay its loans, he noted. The developer is saddled with more than $300 billion in total obligations, including around $19 billion in offshore bonds held on behalf of its clients by international asset managers and private banks. For months, Evergrande has been trying to obtain funds to repay lenders. Government officials have been sent inside the corporation to supervise a restructure, but it is unclear what will happen next. Evergrande has requested an extension of time, but some lenders appear reluctant to wait. The firm said on Sunday the receivers had been appointed over a block of land in Hong Kong that it had pledged as security for a $520 million loan last year. It remains to be seen how the authorities will handle the crisis, Soros remarked during a panel discussion on China's developments and how the U.S. should respond. They may have postponed dealing with it for too long, because people's confidence has now been shaken. Soros has emerged as a vocal opponent of Xi and China's governing Communist Party in recent years. In September, the famed investor and chair of the Open Society Foundation stated that asset management BlackRock was committing a tragic mistake by expanding its operations in China. He has chastised Beijing for its surveillance practices and cracked down on private enterprise. According to Soros, who spoke only days before the opening of Winter Olympics in Beijing, the Chinese president now confronts challenges from the housing market. Falling prices will turn many of those who invested the bulk of their savings in real estate against Xi Jinping, according to Soros, who added that the present scenario doesn't look promising. The question is whether Xi Jinping has many tools at his disposal to re-establish confidence. Analysts have long been concerned that Evergrande's failure might exacerbate larger dangers in China's property market, harming homeowners as well as the wider financial system. Real estate and allied businesses contribute up to 30% of the country's GDP. Last year, China's GDP increased by 8.1%, significantly above the government's own targets. However, slowing growth in the last month of 2021 implies that the real estate crisis, recurrent COVID outbreaks, and Beijing's stringent attitude towards virus control are having their toll. According to the International Monetary Fund, economic growth would decrease substantially to 4.8% in 2022. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.